So next is our main event. And by the way, throughout the packages for these matches are excellent. Yeah. Don't when you watch, if you're going to go back and watch these pay-per-views, I would suggest watch these packages to watch how well they do them. Because a lot of people, I think, you can tell that like guys like Dave and Brian and these guys, when they watch these shows, it seems like they don't pay attention to these. Because these packages are what really separates WWE from everybody. They're so well done, you know? Cody versus Seth in a Hell in a Cell. They do the thing where Seth comes out with an obnoxious-looking robe on, and he takes it off, and he's dressed in the polka dots like Dusty used to wear when Vince made Dusty
that was great.
The polka dot thing. Cody comes out. You can tell his chest is something wrong, and when he takes his jacket off, the crowd was like just like in shock at the black and blue on the chest. And
it was very smart. He used that injury to his advantage.
Absolutely.
Like you said, it looks worse than it is, but it looks really bad, you know, and it made him look tougher. Yeah.
And it did make him look tougher, and he got to sell more.
Right, because he would hit him there, yeah.
Right. And so they did a lot of things, and they did the sledgehammer. So he was getting heat on. He's like driving the sledgehammer and his thing in the
cane.
The cane. They were
I like when Seth pulled out the table and the band started to chant, "Thank you, Rollins."
Right. So they do a thing here. Rollins went for another stomp when Cody stood up, and Cody avoided it. And Cody went for the crossroads. But Seth countered it and hit the move himself. And he was going to do another one, but then Cody countered it and hit him, and then they both stayed down. I'm not it's like he hit him with his finish, he no-sold the guy hitting him with his own finish, and got to hit him with it, but the other guy, then they sold it. I don't know. I don't like the no-sell spot. Cody won a race with a sledgehammer, but his arm gave out. That was actually pretty good.
Oh, here's another thing I forgot that they used, Glenn, a bull rope.
Yeah, that's right. In the middle of this, he pulls a bull rope
That's
out
old school.
And challenges Seth to put the bull rope on. And Seth looks, and they milk this, you know? And so, all right, I'll put the bull. And they did a couple very good entertaining spots with the bull rope. Yeah. We flipped him around and everything. So it's like, you know, they had an idea. Like their ideas for this match all worked. Everything worked. Like every idea they had was very, very well done here.
You know, you could tell, kudos to both, because you could tell they were probably thinking about this for days. It was a main event. It was Hell in the Cell. And they probably sent each other text messages. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Got there really early, went over. Like, they really put their time into it. So I have much respect for that.
And I think what they did is they knew, like, Cody knows, because when I tore my pick, I knew what I could and couldn't do, right?
Right.
And I bet you they didn't really change much, but they said, well, just sell your injury when you're doing it, which is what they did. And it was good selling. Right. I'm wondering if Cody went back to WWE because this just fits his style of work more. You know what I'm saying? He's a structured guy that came up through the system and stuff. Everything like AEW's kind of like.
I think there's also a part of him that I also think there's definitely a part of him that wanted to go back there and prove that he could make it there. You know, and I think that once people were coming in and getting paid more than him, that he started the company. He was like, this place. If they're not going to pay me when I helped start this, I'm out of here.
Right.
Yeah, and
to be honest, the whole maybe I just thought of this just now. Let me finish the thing. We'll talk about this after the match. But basically, Cody Rollins went for the sledgehammer, went to hit him with it. Cody kicked him and hit him with the crossroads 2 more times. T's going for it the 3rd time, and instead picked up the hammer and then ran and hit him with the hammer and then pinned him. And I don't know what if Cody talked Vince into this or whatever, but like, bro, they're really overly producing him as like a baby face. Like, there's a lot of emotion, crowd shots, like just like their typical like baby face that I think Vince McMahon has always wanted. And then just a lot of the guys have just never really been able to do it, but Cody's doing it very well. He's like their perfect, blonde baby face guy. You know what I'm saying?
Not just that. Don't forget, Cody took acting lessons.
Right.
In LA.
Right.
He was going to be an actor before he got into wrestling. I remember that. Yeah. Actually, in Dustin's book, he was like, "Yeah, my younger brother, he's been taking acting lessons. Says he doesn't want anything to do with the business. He's like, but I see the twinkle in his eye or something like that."
Yeah. Well,
I remember that Dusty Rhodes
Go ahead.
Actually told me that he used to go, because he lived in Austin, I guess, and he used to go to Robert Rodriguez's like seminars and like where he lives. I wonder if he took Cody with him. I mean.
Because this is another thing too. This is what I wanted to, before I forget. So the whole AEW thing started with a challenge where basically Dave Meltzer had said on Twitter one time, they'll never sell out 10,000 people. Like it's and Cody basically like he couldn't sell out. He couldn't have a 10,000 seat indie show, and Cody kind of took him up on it.
He said, "I'll take that bet.
I'll take that bet." And it's like I just wonder if Cody feels like that he kind of like in AEW is kind of like being disrespected as the guy that started this whole thing, and like you said, they're bringing in other guys, they're paying more and stuff. They're not paying him. Or he thinks like he's the guy that basically came up with the whole concept to begin with. And I wonder if that was him just basically saying, you know what, him
but
just maybe getting a little bit offended.
From what I understand from very credible sources, had become very difficult to work with, and there was inner turmoil between him and some of the other guys.
Right. Well, I think you can just tell.
Right.
This is Cody's element. In the WWE system, production stuff, and just like I just don't think he probably ever resonated with those guys that have never. I guarantee you, they've had these conversations. They probably had these conversations a lot, where the Bucks and these guys are trying to, or Kenny are trying to tell him the way they should do things, and him say, "Dude, I've worked in the TV system for years and years and years and years."
Well, it was more than that. Believe me, it was more than that. But anyways, the bottom line is that. I just think that at one point he must have come to the realization, I can either stay here and fight and be an EVP and have to deal with all this jealousy and people, wanting to be around me to see if I can hook them up with work, and I get a lot of heat, whatever, and I can't really, I'm still young and I really want to wrestle. I want to be a superstar. I've never been a superstar. Or I can go over there, make sure I get a push, make sure I get paid. I know the game now, and now I got to bet on myself too, and he understood that system fitted him better.
Yeah. And you can see the difference in the audiences too. The stuff that he was doing in AEW towards the end was always getting booed and on. He's not doing things that much different in WWE, but the crowd's embracing him. He probably had that in mind too.
Here's another thing too. Maybe this is, is that Vince for years never really did much with Cody. He was Stardust. He was in tags. He was just never really broke out, right? And I wonder if Vince just somebody said, "Hey, you got to watch this," and they just showed Cody in the middle of the ring, very well dressed, cutting a good babyface promos, and sitting there probably saying why did we let this guy go? It's like that's like the type of guy I want on my show. They say, "Well, you didn't do anything with him." It's like, well, I may have thought of. I think I can do something with him now because this guy looks like a good, clean-cut, well-dressed, well-spoken babyface character, which is exactly what they've done with him since he's come back. So I don't know, but he's in a great spot. So probably in the main. Cody, the message they're sending to all because AEW, bro, their roster is AEW's roster bigger than WWE's now. It seems like it. Because the WWE guys, we see them.
Here's another thing that. He also got accused of riding the coattails of the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega with the Ring of Honor in New Japan. Now he's like, okay, whose coattails am I riding now?
Right. Exactly.
I think there's a lot of pride in him. We're like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you bet against me. You can
pride because these guys, bro, a lot of these guys have pride, and you know what? You know
all
how
those
I can tell?
Georgia guys.
Because if a guy like me makes a critical comment on Twitter, these guys come after me. Because they do have a lot of pride in what they do, and they don't like it when people are criticized. Would
you
being critical.
Yourself and Cody Georgia boys?
Yeah, we're both of the mean. I consider myself the king of Marietta. All right, even though he lives there, I'm still the king of Marietta. You can tell him that.
Tell him who runs that place.
Yeah. If I ever see him jogging down Old Canton Road, we might have words.
It's on. Is it on site?
I'm the king of
Marietta.
Right. That would be a funny vignette. How funny of a vignette would that be?
Hey, young man, come here.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, hopefully one day he gets over whatever you said about him, and
right. So let's make
all chop it up.
Let's make a point here. This is 3 straight WWE pay-per-views that have really been kind of excellent and over-delivered and exceeded expectations, which is why I think they're getting a little bit of a not so much of a buzz, but their shows have kind of they're not losing viewers anymore. It's kind of like they got their audience now, and they're kind of like there's more negative.
Well, they got a lot of good going on. Yeah. More better, more good than bad. Before it was the other way around.
Right. Exactly. All right. So that's been our pay-per-view review.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.